Welcome into another episode of the Fat Guy Podcast. I am the Fat Guy, although not as fat as I once was. Most people just call me Brett. I'm glad you decided to join me today. I'm a guy who, after being fat since I was 5 or 6 years old, have finally discovered the secret to weight loss, and God, what a glorious revelation it was. I've lost over 100 pounds, and I love spreading truth bombs about weight loss. It just frustrates me so much, the lies that we've been told our entire lives about how to lose weight, and it's the reason nobody can ever lose. And I'll be exposing one of those lies today. If you enjoy the podcast, I encourage you, subscribe if you like listening on your device while you're driving or whatever you do there. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on the Google Play Store. You just search for Fat Guy Podcast. We're on all the social medias. Fat Guy Podcast. Doesn't matter which one you're looking for us on. That's how you find us. And the website is thefatguypodcast.com. It's a work in progress. So if you do happen to go there, don't be too disappointed. But it will give you an archive of all the shows, if that's another way you can listen. And we're going to be adding some new cool stuff to that site soon. A quick reminder, even though I have lost over 100 pounds, I do believe I've cracked the code to weight loss. I have helped a lot of people get on their journey to losing weight, and I want to help you. I'm not a medical person. I have no formal medical training. I'm not a doctor. I just strictly, and to be honest with you, I'm not qualified to give weight loss advice. I'm just sharing my story and my experiences. If you interpret anything I say to be more than that, that's you doing that, okay? So, consult with a physician before you begin any weight loss or exercise regimen. So, we're going to talk today about these artificial sweeteners that people just enjoy using because, why wouldn't you? If you have the option to have a real sweetener or artificial and you're trying to lose weight, you don't want that sugar, you don't want the carbs, you don't want the whole, chain of events to happen that happens when you have sugar and carbs. Because there's a lot of things happen. First of all, if you can listen to some of my previous podcasts, and we'll talk about the horrible chain of events that happens internally when sugar enters your body. Especially when you've become overweight and you are now officially insulin resistant or maybe type 2 diabetic already. But for anybody, it causes a chain reaction. You just always should eliminate processed sugars to the best of your ability. Even if you're healthy, because you don't want to become unhealthy. But so, I'm not going to mention them by name, but you have the little pink packets and you have the little yellow packets. And the yellow packets were always the ones I preferred, although I didn't use them that much. People are eating this stuff and they're thinking that they're not eating any sugar, So this is great. When in reality, the little yellow packet is nearly 100% sugar. Now, I know that's probably mind-blowing for you. I know you're probably saying, God, how can I be eating a sugar-free sweetener and it nearly all be sugar? Well, I hate to break the news to you, but it is. So let's talk about it, right? One of those little packets has 0 calories, 0 fat, all that kind of stuff, of course. But it does have carbohydrates. Now ask yourself, how does something that doesn't have any sugar in it have carbohydrate? How can that possibly be? How can that possibly be? Well, it has sugar in it. That's the only answer. The only answer is that there's sugar in it. And if you look a little closer at your little yellow packet, you may notice a rather innocuous looking ingredient is the very first ingredient. Now, sucralose is what they use, right? Sucralose is this artificial sweetener. It's 2 or 3 or 500 or 1,000 times sweeter than sugar or whatever. And it's artificial and blah, blah, blah. And then you look at the packet and you're like, well, crap, the first ingredient is not sucralose. The first ingredient is something else that ends in the word ose. It's dextrose. I wonder what dextrose is. Now, if you understand how ingredients work, the thing that there's the most of in the package is listed first, right? It's just like when you look at a recipe. If you've ever noticed, if you're a cook and you look at recipes, the largest ingredients go first and the farther down you go, at the first you've got a half a pound of almond flour. At the bottom you got half a teaspoon of cumin. It's the same way ingredients in a something you buy from the store works. Whatever's in there first, there's the most of that. It makes up the highest percentage of it, and then it goes down and down. Well, dextrose is number one, and we'll come back and talk about dextrose. But maybe sucralose, this non-sugar artificial sweetener, is second. Oh, no, it's not even second. No. It's the third ingredient on the list. Your non-sweetener, artificial, or non-sugar, artificial sweetener that makes the thing sweet, the sucralose, it's the third ingredient in the freaking package. So let's go back to number one, dextrose. Well, here's a little tip for you. Because they hide sugar in packages, and there's something like 96 names for sugar, the last article I read on it. And it can be named it can just be named anything. There's so many names for sugar. And it's just crazy. And you can go through a lot of these prepackaged foods you buy, and if you go through the ingredients, you'll find sugar listed in there like 7-8 different times under 7 or 8 different names. And sometimes sugar isn't even one of them. Like, the word sugar isn't even in it. So you can be like, God, there ain't even any sugar in this. And really, there's 8 different kinds of sugar in it. It's a trick they use. It's very difficult. It's very hard to lose weight when the system is stacked against you. So here's a clue for you. Most things, now sucralose, which is the ingredient in the little yellow packet, is an artificial sweetener, and they decided to give it an OS name. And so it's a little confusing. But with the exception of that, if you see something that ends in OS, it's most likely a sugar. Dextrose is one of those. Dextrose is a sugar. Okay? The number one ingredient in your non-sugar artificial sweetener is sugar. And don't even get me started on maltodextrin. Okay? So here's my tip for you. Either go buy you an artificial sweetener to carry around with you. I do. I have the little drops, and I get it in the travel size. The thing just goes in my pocket, and it's just with me all the time. And make sure it doesn't have any sugar in it. And so I'm going to give you another tip. There's another product out there, and I believe it's Truvia. If it's not Truvia, it's one of the other. No, it's not. It's the monkey something. I think it says monkey on it, and it's a sweetener. No, stevia in the raw. Where did I get monkey from? Stevia in the raw. Stevia in the raw is mixed with sugar, okay? If you buy that stevia in the raw, it's just like this. You're buying sugar. You think you're not buying sugar? You're buying sugar. Yeah, it's got some stevia in it, but you're buying sugar. So it doesn't mean you're like, well, crap, I can't use stevia. Sure you can. The number one way is to get the drops. Generally, if you get the stevia drops, which will work for just about everything except some baking. If you're wanting to do baking, the sugar acts as a bulking agent a lot of the times, and so using a liquid will make your recipe come out funky. But even a lot of baking recipes, you can just use the drops. But by far, the drops are usually pure. They're just drops, so you can use them, no problem. And if you have to get the powdered kind that imitates sugar, look at the ingredients. Look on the back. The number one ingredient does not need to be dextrose or some other fake name for sugar. Well, it's not a fake name. It's a sketchy name that you're not familiar with. And there's several of those. It's not like they're hard to find. You can find them. You just got to read the labels, okay? Read those labels. Be empowered. It is your health. It's up to you. Don't depend on somebody to tell you what to do, not even me. If you don't believe what I've said, go research it on the internet where everything is true. Okay, that's meant to be a little bit funny, but I appreciate you listening to the show today. If I can be of any help to you, shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram, Twitter. I don't like Twitter, but I'll eventually find it. It may take me a while because I don't check Twitter that often. But we're on all of those. At Fat Guy Podcast is what you're looking for. Facebook is my preferred form of communication. Of course, you can ship me an email if that's what you would prefer. It's fatguy@thefatguypodcast.com. And I appreciate you listening. Share this. You could literally change somebody's life by sharing this, okay? Have a great day.